Alright, time for another video here. And as you know, I am going through True Blood for the first time. If you're new to this channel, this particular channel is about physical media and stuff I have in my collection. And I'm going back to watching more physical media. And months ago, I was gifted a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays. And in that was a couple seasons of True Blood, and I'd never seen the show before, and so I made a point to acquire the remaining seasons that I needed, and I said I'm going to watch this series because I haven't done a deep dive into a series in a long time in terms of like watching things. I mean, I watch a lot of stuff, but a lot of series are more newer. And this gave me a chance to utilize the DVDs that I have, sort of acquire. Now I got the full series of the show on DVD. And so, in previous videos, I've done seasons 1, 2, and 3, recaps, sort of my thoughts on it, as someone that's coming to this very late. I mean, it's been over 10 years since it's been off the air. And so I just thought it would be kind of fun to make videos documenting a first-time viewer and my thoughts on this show. So season 4 has a lot going on, and I believe from what I've read, and I stay away from a lot of spoilers and stuff because, like I said, I am going into this for the first time, brand new, so I don't go online a lot. I do chime into a True Blood subreddit to just say, hey, I finished this latest season, and here's what I think, and blah, blah, blah. And I believe, from what I have read, is this is where Alan Ball, the creator of the show, starts to veer from the books. I've never read the books, but from what I've read on fan sites and whatnot, this is where the deviation of the printed material starts, and it goes on to its own thing. And like previous seasons, there is a lot going on. Tremendous amount of stories to constantly overlap each other. And in this one, we get Sookie finally discovering her fairy powers. She comes back from the fairy tale, she comes back from fairyland, and we're introduced to a witch coven that puts a curse on Eric that turns him into a sort of a softie. He doesn't remember anything of his past life, and he becomes sort of a, I don't know if a lapdog is the right word, but he's very passive and like almost like a child, like just childlike wonder and everything. He doesn't have a past. He can't remember like anything of his past or whatever. It gives him a nice side, although I think it's too nice in a lot of ways. And then, of course, you get more with the werewolves in this. So there's werewolves, witches, fairies, and vampires all converging in season 4. And I kind of gave season 3 not a bad review, but I was like, this is a lot going on, and I didn't love it as much. And I think it's because I had binge watched so many episodes in a row. I didn't let it time to breathe, so it got kind of exhausting. This one, I kind of spread it out a little bit more, and it's not near as good as season 3. I think season 3 had more meat on the bone. You had Russell in season 3, which is a fan favorite, obviously. And so looking back, that was sorely missing. There wasn't this sort of kind of wild guy holding it together. The witches were cool. I don't feel like it had enough meat on the bone like a Russell did, but I do like that it allowed for Eric to show this sort of vulnerable side, which I think was the point, to sort of get him to be, I mean, he's funny when he's his usual self. He wasn't as funny in this. As always, a lot of sex in this show. It's a very sexy show. So there's a lot of that. You got Sookie she's still pining for Bill. She's really hooking up with Eric in this. And Alcide is, he doesn't know what to do. You have Marnie as the leader of the witch coven, who actually is inhabited by a 300 or 400 year old witch that was burned at the stakes. And I can't even pronounce her name, but I loved in the show that they took every opportunity to always pronounce the full name. I don't know why, I just thought that was funny. This is also the season where Bill Compton is the king of Louisiana, king of the vampires. And Marnie wants to basically start a war with the vampires to alleviate them. This is also the season where Lafayette, another favorite character of mine in the show, he takes on a lot in this. He becomes possessed in a way, like of visions of the past. Like he's able to absorb energy in terms of witchcraft. Sorry, I have the plot points pulled up here. So there's a lot, and it gets very convoluted, but I understand why they're trying to give everybody something to do. I just felt like there's actually enough in here for 2 separate seasons, because there's just a lot going on. The werewolves, the witches, the witchcraft, magic with Lafayette and Jesus. And then you have Arlene with that baby, with that creepy doll. How they keep that doll around is beyond my scope. And I also forgot that Sam has to deal with his pain-in-the-ass brother, who's shape-shifting to try to get Miss Fortenberry out of her house and sell her gas rights to the city, in a shady deal there. The Sam and Luna hook up, and then he has to be confronted with the leader of the werewolves. It's actually a lot, and they spend a lot of time on the witchcraft and the witches. In fact, the main plot point is with the war against the vampires. Marnie creates a spell to get them to all walk out in the sun to try to do away with them, and that doesn't work as well as she had thought. There's a lot going back with this witch from the, I think, 1600s. So yeah, so I'm just this was basically a stew of a season where they just mixed a bunch of stuff. I call it throwing crap against the wall, see what sticks. Certainly not as good as seasons 1, 2, and 3, but I actually had read that going in. In fact, somebody had told me just watch 1, 2, and 3 and don't watch the rest. I'm not doing that. I want to watch the whole season. It's very rare that I get invested in something from beginning to end, and I'm going to do this. And making these videos helps me do that. It gives me an incentive to finish the season and commentate on it, even if I'm not very good at critiquing. I tend to like everything, although this one I didn't. The highlight, I think, and the oh shit moment for me was when Steve Newlander shows back up at the end of season 4. That was, I saw it coming because there were like news reports or something in prior episodes in the season that his name was being brought up. So I wasn't completely surprised, because it's like, why would they subtly hint at that unless he's coming back? So I thought that was nice. And then season 4 ends, and so now we get to dive into season 5, and I'm sure he's going to be a main big bad in season 5. So really, to sum up, my take on it is, I think I jumped the gun bad-mouthing season 3 so much, just due to exhaustion and the nature of watching so many episodes in a row. This one I spread a little bit further out to take it in. In fact, there were some episodes that I watched again just because it had been so long since the time I watched it to the time I got to the next one. And I have tremendous ADD, so rewatching an episode that I saw before instead of just the little recaps helps me out a lot to try to keep all this focused. And believe me, as rambling as this review is, these are a lot more focused than if I just would watch them over the course of 6 weeks and try to guess what I saw, because it's really bad, and that's something I'm working on. But I digress. So I think I jumped the gun with sort of bad-mouthing season 3, because season 3 now is like the peak Russell. And in fact, I'm going to probably go back and watch season 3 once I finish this whole season. And then you get Jason Stackhouse is in this, and he's trying to get this. I skipped over where Jason Stackhouse is involved in trying to get Andy Belfleur off of V, who's become a rampant addict who can't function without it anymore, and he's trying to get Andy to get off the stuff. Jason is coming to grips with almost being a werepanther, even though that didn't pan out. So this was definitely a throw crap against the wall to see what sticks. The other thing is, and this has nothing to do with this season specifically, but I discovered on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something, I just went on typing to see what's out there, and I did not realize that around pandemic times, 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago now, Deborah Ann Wall and Pam, the actress that plays Pam, they had a podcast about this show. And the first 2 seasons of it, they go episode by episode and do deep dives into it. And they even have interviews, like 20-minute long interviews with cast members and crew members of the show. And I found that very exciting. I didn't even know that existed. I just kind of randomly typed in True Blood in the podcast section. And so I don't know if anybody's watching this or cares about it. There is a podcast on Spotify or Apple. I'm not affiliated with it in any way. I just discovered it. And it is very fun and very interesting. And Deborah Ann Wall is a treasure. She takes her craft very seriously. And they offer some really funny behind-the-scenes stuff about the show. So, yeah, I don't know if this is a good recap, a bad recap. I'm slowly realizing the more I talk about this stuff on camera, I don't know if I'm good at reviewing anything. I just give my thoughts on what I think about the show. And so if you've made it this far, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe, please share this video with other True Blood enthusiasts. This whole channel is dedicated to physical media, and I promise to get back to more of that stuff and talking about what I'm watching and dipping into my collection and that kind of stuff. I'm trying to do that more. I am doing a deep dive into watching all of the Fast and the Furious movies, which is something I have never done. I've seen the first one when it first came out in 2001. I never saw 2, 3. I don't think I saw 4, and I really picked up when 5 came out. And so I'm going to be doing a deep dive on that, giving my thoughts on the Fast and the Furious franchise. And some other stuff like that. So I'm trying to have a little fun with this. I'm trying to use this as an excuse to dip into my collection and kind of share my enthusiasm for physical media. I know it's a hot topic. There's channels and YouTubers galore focusing on physical media. And I do not buy a lot of stuff anymore. So I don't like showing the packaging and that kind of stuff. I don't do that. And even if I did buy stuff, I don't know if I would, because there's tons of YouTube channels dedicated to showing the packaging and the slipcovers. I just like the movies, and so but I've gotten away from buying so much stuff and just appreciating. I have just shy of 1,000 movies, I believe, and I'm really trying to use this channel as an excuse to dip in and talk about it. So I'm not trying to I'm just doing this for fun. It's a hobby. I have another channel that's a completely different hobby. So I'm just trying to stay busy, stay energized, sort of use the stuff I have in my house to just have a dialogue about things that I like and things that I'm watching. And I think there's something fun about somebody that's never seen True Blood watching it 10 years after it aired. So the first season is like close to 20 years old. So stuff like that. I just think it's someone might find it interesting if you're a hardcore fan, what a newbie coming at this so late how they might react. So that's how you get that. I hope you enjoy this video. I hope that it's, I don't know, I feel like my rambling sometimes is annoying, but that's neither here nor there. I guess you guys can sound off in the comments if I even know what I'm talking about. But all in all, good season, not a great season. It looks like 1, 2, and 3 were peak True Blood, to use the words that the internet uses. But I'm very excited to watch the whole season. I'm very excited to give a full recap of watching a series that went for 7 years in a compressed amount of time, so most of it's fresh in my head, and being able to sort of give my thoughts and opinions all these years later as someone that's never seen the show. So again, thank you for watching. I appreciate it so much. Please like and subscribe and share this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Maybe you'll enjoy my upcoming Fast and the Furious recap of 10 or 11, 12 movies, I don't even know what it is. And all sorts of fun stuff I'm going to try to start putting on this channel more often, on a more regular basis. So thank you again. Have a great day. Catch you in the next one. Take care.